Today, I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite cash game plays for this Week 5 NFL Draftkings main slate. And like I always do here with these videos, I'll go position by position, talking about why I like each of these plays, and then we'll wrap up the video with some honorable mentions. With that being said, let's dive right into this. And we're going to kick things off here at the quarterback position. I've really locked in my cash game quarterbacks to spending up for Patrick Mahomes this week, or spending down for Joshua Dobbs. There's a few other guys that I certainly wouldn't mind. If you want to spend up for Anthony Richardson, I'd have no problem with that, but personally, I don't love the matchup against the Titans. They're very good against the run, and that includes against quarterbacks who run the ball. We saw that earlier with Deshaun Watson this year, and really they did that all of 2022. So look, I'm spending up for Patrick Mahomes here this week, or like I said, spending down for Joshua Dobbs. Mahomes here at $8,200 in Minnesota with a lot of shootout potential, has the highest implied total here on the main slate at 53 points. We need 24.6 DraftKings points in order for Mahomes to meet 3x value, and this Vikings defense just hasn't been great against the pass, allowing the 9th highest yards per attempt, 3rd highest passer rating, and 2nd highest completion rate. There's no reason that Mahomes shouldn't be able to tear apart this secondary, especially considering how much this defense loves to blitz, and Mahomes is fantastic against the blitz. He ranks 8th overall with the best passer rating when teams do blitz him. And like I said, if I do end up spending down here this week, Joshua Dobbs looks really nice at $5,200. Now, I myself, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, would I be talking about Joshua Dobbs as a cash game quarterback, I would have said you're batshit crazy, but here we are, sitting in a matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals at a really good price of $5,200, where we would only need 15.6 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. Now, what I've really liked out of Dobbs here in his last 3 games, and something we didn't see in game 1 against the Commanders, is how much he's running the ball. You know, I've mentioned this in the past when I talk about my cash game plays. When I'm playing a quarterback, if I can get a quarterback that has some rushing upside, I really like to do that. It just gives them a little safer floor, and in his last 3 games, he's averaging 7 rush attempts, 48 rushing yards, where he's finished his QB5, QB16, and QB8. Not bad at all for a guy priced here at $5,200. Plus, this Bengals defense hasn't been spectacular by any means, allowing 19.3 DraftKings points per game this season, which is the 14th most out of 32 teams. Now, moving on to the running backs here, and I mentioned this in my first look video on Tuesday morning that I really wasn't in love with the running back position here for this Week 5 main slate. I was really hoping some value would open up, but as I record this here on Friday, that really hasn't been the case. Now, I do have 2 honorable mention running backs that I'll talk about at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But the 2 guys that I like here this week, first is going to be Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons, sitting at $7,700 on DraftKings right now, in a good matchup at home against the Houston Texans. At this price, we need 23.1 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. We've seen him play 72% of the snaps in his last 3 games, averaging 18 touches per game and 113 total yards per game. When this guy has the ball in his hands, if you haven't watched him yet, you need to go do so. He is truly incredible. He ranks 3rd in routes run, 2nd in targets, and 3rd in receiving yards for all running backs as well. Obviously, I like that as well, considering the PPR format scoring on DraftKings. And this Texans defense, like I said, it's a good matchup for him. They currently rank 28th overall in rush DVOA. And then I got DeAndre Swift there of the Philadelphia Eagles, who's clearly taken over as the #1 running back in this offense over the past 3 games. Obviously, that wasn't the case in Week 1, but if we look at his touches here over the last 3 games, averaging 22 per game and 132 yards per game, really like to see that. Now, I'd like to see a few more targets go his way, but he's still involved in the passing game, and at this price here of $6,000, we only need 18 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. He's essentially done that in all 3 of his last games. This Rams defense hasn't been great against zone runs either, giving up the 4th highest yards per carry to zone runs, and Swift just so happens to be running on zone 88% of the time. Now, folks, before we dive into the wide receiver plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would truly appreciate that. Every time you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment, really helps push my videos into the YouTube algorithm. They push it to like 2 or 3 new people every time you guys do that. And we're trying to get Sly Dog Sports here to 4,000 subs. Want to build this into a true brand, and the quicker we can do that, the more content we can get your guys' way. So like and subscribe, and let's dive into these wide receivers. And of course, we're going to kick things off here with Justin Jefferson, and maybe I shouldn't say of course, because because Tyreek Hill at $9,000 is 100% in play this week as well. If I could spend up for both of those guys in my cash lineup, I'd love to do that, but probably going to be tough to do so when you're paying up for Bijan Robinson as well. But yes, both those guys definitely in play. JJ here at $9,400 playing at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Talked about it already. A lot of shootout potential here in this game. Has the highest implied total at 53 points. And we know what JJ does. At this price here at $9,400, we need 28.2 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. This is a guy averaging 28.3 DraftKings points per game. He's top 5 in targets, target share, air yards, and deep targets. This guy is essentially matchup proof, and I like him in this matchup at home against KC. Now, many said he couldn't meet value with Bryce Young, but I didn't understand all that talk last week when it came to Adam Thielen, because he was just fine in week 2 with Bryce Young at quarterback, and he just so happened to be fine last week as well playing the Minnesota Vikings. I'll go right back here to Adam Thielen at $5,100. He is playing on the road this week, but I love the matchup indoors against the Detroit Lions. In a game they're likely playing from behind. At this price here at $5,100, we need 15.3 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. And I love the role he's actually playing right now in this Panthers offense. We've seen him play in the slot about 70% of the time, so he's really been a safety valve with a low ADOT for Bryce Young, and I'll take that all day in the PPR scoring format. Plus, he's seen a 20% target share, 26% air yard share, and I really like to see that he's seeing close to 30% of the team's first read share. So again, at a price like this of $5,100, I'll go right back to him. And then another guy that I like here who's just $100 cheaper than Thielen is Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's kind of been rolling with Joshua Dobbs, and look, we can look at their first game and go, yeah, that was horrible against the Washington Commanders, but the Cardinals have played pretty damn well here over their last 3 games. Hollywood has basically followed how Josh Dobbs has played. In his last 3 games here, he's seen a 24% target share, 42% air yard share, and he's averaging close to 2 yards per route run. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, in terms of fantasy, every route he runs, he's averaging 2 yards for you in terms of fantasy scoring. Not bad at all for a guy priced at $5,000, and he's also seen a 27.5% first read share. I really like that, just like I do with Adam Thielen, again, especially at this price. And then if you're really looking for some price savings here this week, Wan'Dale Robinson of the New York Giants looks nice at the bare minimum price of $3,000. Now, they're playing in Miami here this week, a game that they're likely trailing and probably having to throw a little bit more in the second half. But at this price in general, I kind of like it because you only need 9 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. And he's only played 2 games so far this year, but he's playing a little bit more with each and every game. Saw 61% route share in week 4, the most since his ACL injury. This is a value play, obviously, at this price, but if you look at his targets here in his 2 games, 5 and 6, I don't mind that at all, again, considering the price. And then I got a couple of tight ends here, and yes, this week would be one week I'd be willing to spend up for Travis Kelce here in my cash lineup, sitting at $7,600, again, heading into Minnesota. We need 22.8 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. I'm really kind of treating him here as a wide receiver number 1 in this Chiefs offense. I think that's what we should typically do with a guy like Travis Kelce. I talked about the shootout potential here in Minnesota, playing indoors, really like that, and we know the upside that Travis Kelce has. So far this year, he's 2nd in target share, 2nd in red zone targets amongst all tight ends. Plus, Byron Murphy of the Minnesota Vikings was talking some smack to Travis Kelce heading into this week, so he might just have a chip on his shoulder. And then if I want to spend down here at the tight end position, I certainly don't mind Zach Ertz. He'll be an honorable mention, but I also like Tyler Conklin here, the New York Jets, sitting at $3,200, only need 9.6 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. Really, you're kind of hoping that Zach Wilson can carry over the play that he had against the Chiefs just last week to the Denver Broncos here this week. He looked like a legitimate quarterback in the NFL, and this matchup couldn't be better for him to expand on that. This defense here for the Denver Broncos ranks dead last in total defensive DVOA and ranked dead last in pass DVOA as well, and I certainly don't mind Conklin's numbers here considering the price. He's got a 62% route run rate, 13% target share, and a 12% first read share. And look, I'm up front with you guys here, so the only defense I've been able to make work here this week in terms of cash lineups that I like is the Tennessee Titans. So the odds are I'll be spending down for them at $2,400. I don't necessarily love the matchup on the road considering how well Anthony Richardson has looked, but at this price we need 7.2 DraftKings points in order for them to meet 3x value. I think they can get there, and if they don't, we're kind of punting at this position anyway. But the Titans have been notoriously good against running backs and running quarterbacks. I talked about that earlier when I was going through the quarterback position. That happened earlier this year against Deshaun Watson, and in 2022, they were very good against running quarterbacks. So overall, I'm essentially punting at this position, but I don't mind the Titans at all. And as always, going to wrap up this video here with some honorable mentions. I got 5 for you guys like I typically do. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 tight end. The running backs that I think we can consider here this week are David Montgomery and Alvin Kamara. I like the matchup for David Montgomery at home in a game they should be leading and running the ball in the second half. At 6.6K, you need 19.8 DraftKings points. He's not heavily involved in the passing game though, so I don't necessarily love that. Alvin Kamara is heavily involved in the passing game. We saw that last week with Derek Carr. I don't necessarily love the matchup for him, but at 6.3K, he can definitely meet value, hitting 18.9 DraftKings points. Tyreek Hill, talked about him earlier. He's probably a consideration most weeks, and I do like that matchup against the Giants. Michael Wilson is another value play at $3,700. Only need 11.1 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. Hey, look, I know I've talked about the Cardinals quite a bit here in week 5, but they truly are offering some nice value at home. And then we're going to go to another Cardinal here in Zach Ertz, tight end position, sitting at $3,500. Another cheap play that you could roll with, only need 10.5 DraftKings points, and this is a guy they still target pretty frequently in that offense. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great weekend here, folks. Let's win some money on this week 5 main slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.